Most people think of age as a number, 25, 37, 68. But true age isn't measured by birthdays. It's measured by how much energy you still have, how clearly your mind thinks, and how smoothly your body moves. Aging isn't just time passing. If it were, how do some people stay vibrant at 80 while others struggle at 40? The answer is simple. Your body isn't getting what it truly needs. I'm not just talking about eating better, exercising more, or getting enough sleep. I'm talking about giving your body and mind the complete support they require on every level. Think about it. Any machine or engine breaks down faster when it's poorly maintained. Your body works the same way. When your posture changes, your energy fades, your joints ache, and your metabolism slows, it's not just because you're getting older, it's because your body lacks proper maintenance. So let's put this in perspective with something familiar: your car. What happens if you never change the oil, skip lubrication, or use the wrong fuel? What if you ignore the filters and let dirt clog the engine? Or if you push it too hard, running at full speed in the wrong gear? You already know the result. The car won't last. Yet we often treat our bodies far worse than our vehicles and still expect them to perform. The body is incredibly resilient, far more adaptable than any machine. But there's a big difference between working and thriving, between surviving and living well. That's why it's vital to understand the difference between lifespan and health span. Two people might both reach 90, but one has been sick since 40, while the other stays sharp, strong, and joyful to the end. Longevity isn't about counting years. It's about the quality of those years. Here's something mind-blowing. 90% of what you see in the mirror wasn't there a year ago. Your body constantly rebuilds itself. Your gut lining renews every few days, your taste buds every 10, your skin every month, and your liver every 45 days. You're not a statue carved in stone. You're a living construction project. The quality of your rebuild depends on the materials you give your body and the signals you send it. Most people understand nutrition, but few realize that without the right signals, even perfect nutrients can't do their job. The body doesn't really wear out. It fails to repair. Think about knee pain. Both knees are the same age, but one hurts while the other doesn't. Why? Because the body repaired one and neglected the other. Aging faster than you should is simply a lack of support, chemical, structural, or emotional. When one of these is missing, you fall out of balance. To stay youthful, you must nurture all three. Because aging isn't fate, it's feedback. And we'll talk about all these, but the big question that most people really have no understanding of is, what does the body actually need? If these words touched your heart and sparked inspiration within you, leave a 3 in the comments to let it shine. If they did not, leave a 0 in quiet honesty. Every thought you share is a gift. Thank you for giving us a moment of your precious time. I often talk about what I call the triad of health. Most people focus on one or two parts of it, but very few understand all three, and even fewer apply them at the same time. The truth is, your body has requirements, not suggestions. These aren't do it if you have time ideas. They're laws of nature. Just as gravity doesn't care whether you believe in it or not, your body has fundamental needs that must be met if you want to stay healthy, strong, and vibrant. These needs fall into 3 categories: chemical, structural, and emotional. They're deeply interconnected, like 3 legs of the same stool. If one leg is missing, the whole system collapses. Every part of your body affects every other part. So, to build lasting health, you must support all 3 together. Let's start with the chemical side, the biochemistry of your body. You need fuel, Not just any fuel, but high-quality, nutrient-dense food. Think about it like this. If you put cheap, dirty gas into a car, it runs rough. The same thing happens inside you. The best way to nourish your body is with real food: meat, fish, eggs, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and healthy fats. Foods that still look like they came from the earth, not from a box or a factory. One of the most powerful ways to balance your chemistry is intermittent fasting. It's not extreme, it simply means eating fewer times a day. You don't need to snack every hour. 1 to 3 meals within a 6 to 12-hour window is plenty for most people. This gives your body time to clean up, burn stored energy, and reset itself. When you eat, you're storing fuel. When you don't, your body starts cleaning and repairing. That rhythm, input and cleanup, is what keeps your system efficient. Your body also needs clean air, pure water, and a low-toxin environment. You can detoxify to a degree, but there's a limit. The more chemicals, heavy metals, and pollutants you expose yourself to, the harder your body has to work just to stay balanced. Because our food supply isn't what it used to be, thanks to soil depletion and processing, supplementation can help. Fish oil, minerals, and vitamins can fill the gaps. Choose whole food-based supplements whenever possible. Think of them as high-quality building materials for your body. Nutrients are the raw parts. Enzymes and minerals are the catalysts that make your internal construction project happen. Now, let's talk about what destroys that chemistry. The chemical breakdown side of the equation. Nutrient deficiencies are the silent thief of vitality. Without building blocks, your body can survive, but not thrive. Over time, that gap catches up, especially in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, when just getting by isn't enough anymore. Another modern problem is overfeeding. We eat too much and too often because processed foods are engineered to make us crave more. Sugar, refined starches, and seed oils trick the brain like a drug. You eat not because you're hungry, but because you're chasing comfort. Yet those foods lack real nutrients, so your body keeps asking for more, leading to blood sugar spikes, insulin resistance, and eventually metabolic disease. Then there are environmental toxins, the chemicals, plastics, pesticides, and pollutants released into our air, soil, and water. These foreign invaders interfere with every biological process your body performs, including your energy production. When the mitochondria, your body's power plants, become sluggish, everything slows down: metabolism, focus, mood, and repair. And when digestion falters, the entire system weakens. Poor gut health means you can't absorb nutrients properly, leading to deficiencies, inflammation, and what doctors call leaky gut. Harmful bacteria take over, toxins leak into the bloodstream, and the immune system goes into overdrive. You develop sensitivities, fatigue, and allergies. Not because your body is failing, but because it's fighting for balance in an overwhelmed environment. Everything is connected. When one part of your system falls out of tune, the others suffer. The chemical side of health isn't just about what you eat. It's about what you avoid, how you breathe, how you rest, and how clean your internal environment is. Once you master this first pillar, chemistry, your body begins to rebuild itself naturally. But remember, that's only one leg of the triad. To truly thrive, you'll also need to strengthen the structural and emotional sides. Together, these 3 pillars form the foundation for lasting health, vitality, and longevity. Now let's move to the structural side of health, the part that's all about movement. Movement is life. Every time you move, stretch, or lift, you send electrical signals to your brain that keep it active and alive. In fact, Research shows that nearly 90% of the stimulation that keeps your brain functioning comes from movement. That's how vital it is. But here's the key. It's not just about working out 3 times a week. It's about living in motion. You need to move often and in many ways throughout your day. Stand up while you're on the phone. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Do a few squats before your coffee brews. Stretch when you feel stiff. Small, frequent movements send constant feedback to your nervous system, keeping your joints lubricated, your circulation strong, and your mind sharp. Of course, you should also do more structured exercise. 3 sessions a week of 30 minutes is a good baseline. Mix it up. Combine resistance training, weight-bearing work, and cardio. Each adds its own kind of stress that challenges your body to adapt and grow stronger. Variety matters. The more diverse your movement patterns, the more complex neural pathways you build in your brain, which improves balance, coordination, and even memory. Your body trains your brain as much as your muscles. That's why disciplines like yoga and Pilates are so powerful. They combine flexibility, strength, and mindfulness while training your spine to move fluidly. The spine is packed with sensory receptors that send vital information to the brain. When your spine moves well, your brain receives richer, clearer signals. When it doesn't, those signals fade, and so does your vitality. In chiropractic terms, this process is called afferentation, the constant flow of signals traveling from your body to your brain. One special kind of these signals is called proprioception, which tells your brain where your limbs are, how you're balanced, and how much force you're applying. Without proprioception, your brain is like a GPS with no signal. It can't guide or repair the body accurately. Now, let's look at the downside. What happens when structural health breaks down? A sedentary lifestyle is the silent killer here. Sitting all day robs your brain of those vital signals. Over time, your posture collapses. You lose the natural curves in your spine, especially the cervical curve in your neck. That curve develops when we're babies, learning to lift our heads and walk, and it's essential for proper movement and nerve communication. Lose it, and you disrupt the body's entire feedback system. One modern epidemic proving this is text neck, the forward head posture caused by hours staring at phones and screens. Look around. You'll see it everywhere, from teenagers to grandparents. This posture adds stress to the spine, compresses nerves, and dulls brain activation. Repetitive movement can be just as harmful. Doing the same exercise or task over and over trains only part of your nervous system while neglecting others. Variety is brain food. Monotony weakens it. Then there's the rule we've all heard but often ignore. Use it or lose it. Muscles, joints, coordination, even cognitive function fade when not used. Disuse shrinks your capabilities long before age does. Finally, let's talk about injuries. Most physical injuries heal with time, but many people never regain full range of motion afterward. They develop compensation patterns, favoring one side, limiting movement. And that restricted motion sends weaker signals to the brain. The real problem isn't the old injury itself. It's the lost communication between body and brain that lingers afterward. So remember, movement isn't optional. It's your body's language, the way it talks to your brain. Every step, stretch, or squat keeps that conversation alive. And when that dialogue is strong, your entire system, physical, mental, and emotional, thrives. Now we come to the third pillar of the health triad, the E, which stands for emotional. This isn't just about getting emotional support from others. It's about the emotional patterns that sustain your health and your life. Let's start with a sense of value and purpose. Do you feel like what you do matters? That question alone determines a lot about your emotional health. Purpose doesn't have to make headlines or change the world. It simply means doing something that feels meaningful to you. Raising children, mentoring someone, running a business with integrity, or making your community just a little better. Having a reason to get up every morning gives structure and strength to your emotional world. Human connection is another non-negotiable. We need relationships, laughter, conversation, and a sense of belonging. Isolation slowly drains the human spirit. Time spent with real people, not just screens, restores our sense of being part of something bigger. And so does nature. Sunlight, fresh air, open space, quiet. These aren't luxuries. They're emotional nutrients. Take a walk, sit under a tree, feel the wind on your face. Learn to be silent again. Meditation, prayer, and mindful breathing aren't mystical. They're ways to reset your nervous system and bring you back to a peaceful baseline. Then there's sleep, the emotional repair shop of the body. Deep rest restores balance, improves mood, and helps you process emotions. Yet most people are so busy reacting to life that they never pause to recharge. They go from task to screen to exhaustion, numbing themselves with constant entertainment. Without reflection, your mind never catches up to your life. Another overlooked practice is detachment. Many people misunderstand this word. Detachment doesn't mean apathy, it means clarity. It's choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. When you stop giving power to every insult, every traffic jam, every rude comment online, you save emotional fuel for the people and goals that truly matter. That's not indifference. That's wisdom. We should also make joy and appreciation active pursuits. Don't wait for happiness to find you. Create it. Admire a sunset, express gratitude, start a hobby, or simply play. Creativity and playfulness are medicine for the emotional brain. On the other side, we have the emotions that drain life, the ones that steal peace and vitality. Chronic stress tops that list. It doesn't matter if it's emotional, financial, or social. Your body feels it the same way. Anger keeps you in fight mode. Fear locks you in flight mode. Both trap you in a constant survival loop. Add in the modern plague of overstimulation, the endless news cycle, the pings of notifications, the glow of blue light, and your mind never gets a moment's silence. Negative emotions like guilt, worry, and resentment act like low-grade toxins, constantly leaking energy from your system. The solution? Awareness. Notice how you feel. When tension builds, pause. Breathe deeply. Shift your focus. Set reminders on your phone not to check email, but to check yourself. The greatest emotional skill you can learn is this. Recognize your state and change it before it owns you. Because the quality of your emotions will always shape the quality of your health and your life. Now that we've explored the 3 pillars of health, chemical, structural, and emotional, it's time to connect them. What ties them all together? What controls every process in your body, every thought, every heartbeat, every breath? The answer is simple. Your brain. Your brain regulates everything. Not some things, not sometimes everything. And at the center of this control system is the frontal lobe, the executive center of your brain. It's the part responsible for decision-making, focus, emotional balance, and motor control. Think of it as the CEO of your entire body, managing all departments and keeping them in sync. Now, let's get a little technical. But stay with me, because this could be one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn about your health. About 90% of what the frontal lobe does is inhibitory. In other words, its job is to turn things off. It calms, regulates, and keeps you balanced. When signals flood in from your body, the frontal lobe filters them. It decides what's important and what to quiet down. Without this braking system, your body and mind would be in chaos. There are 4 main things your frontal lobe inhibits, or keeps under control. 1. Flexor muscles, the ones on the front of your body. 2. Stress responses. 3. Negative emotions and mood swings. 4. Pain signals. Let's break that down. When danger appears, a car swerving toward you or a dog charging, your body reacts instantly. Your flexor muscles tighten to protect your organs, your posture shifts forward, and you enter fight or flight mode. This reflex can save your life in the short term, but it's not meant to stay on forever. When the threat passes, your frontal lobe should step in and calm things down, relaxing those flexor muscles and restoring balance between the front, flexors, and the back, extensors, of your body. Here's the problem. When the frontal lobe weakens, from stress, poor sleep, lack of movement, or bad posture, it can't properly turn off those defense systems. It's like a dim light bulb trying to brighten a room. It's just not powerful enough. So your body stays partially stuck in that forward protective position, shoulders rounded, head down, chest collapsed. Sound familiar? Look around. You'll see it everywhere. People hunched over phones, computers, steering wheels. This posture, sometimes called text neck, is becoming the new normal. And it's not just a cosmetic issue. It directly affects your nervous system. Your head weighs about as much as a bowling ball. When your posture is aligned, that weight balances perfectly on top of your spine. But when you lose your cervical curve, the natural C shape in your neck, gravity pulls your head forward. Every inch your head moves forward adds extra pounds of pressure to your spine. That tension reduces the motion in your spinal joints, and that motion is critical because it generates nerve signals that feed your brain. Here's the kicker. Most of the movement receptors that stimulate your brain are located in your spine, especially the upper cervical region. When you lose those spinal curves and that natural balance, you literally cut off a major source of brain activation. Less motion means fewer signals. Fewer signals mean less stimulation to the frontal lobe. And when the frontal lobe gets less stimulation, it can't do its job. It can't inhibit stress, pain, or muscle tension effectively. The result is a vicious cycle. Poor posture leads to less brain activity, which leads to even worse posture, more tension, and greater fatigue. That's why posture isn't just about looking confident. It's about keeping your brain alive and responsive. Movement isn't optional, it's brain fuel. Every step, every stretch, every breath sends information upward that keeps your mind sharp and your body balanced. Protect your curves, protect your movement, protect your brain. Because when your brain functions optimally, everything else in your life follows. The second major job of the frontal lobe is to inhibit chronic stress, to hit the brakes on that constant fight or flight mode many people live in today. A little stress is essential for survival. It sharpens your reflexes, heightens awareness, and helps you act fast when you're in danger. But that's short-term stress. When stress becomes chronic, when your body never gets the message that the threat is over, it begins to break you down from the inside out. Here's what happens. In fight or flight mode, your body releases a hormone called cortisol. Its main purpose is to raise your blood sugar, giving you instant energy to deal with a threat. But when cortisol stays high for too long, it also raises insulin levels, which increases cravings, especially for sugar and comfort foods. Over time, this creates insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, and metabolic dysfunction. Even worse, when you're under long-term stress, your body stops prioritizing repair. Think about it. When you're fighting to survive, you're not thinking about building for the future. The body works the same way. It focuses on immediate survival, not healing or restoring tissues. High cortisol suppresses your immune system, weakens connective tissue, slows wound healing, and accelerates aging. That's why people under constant stress bruise easily, recover slowly, and feel chronically tired. Because chronic stress is so common, modern medicine has tried to fix it with technology. One of the more recent solutions is the vagus nerve stimulator. To understand what that is, let's first look at how your nervous system is wired. You have two main branches in your autonomic nervous system. One is the sympathetic, which controls your stress or fight or flight response. It's like the gas pedal. It revs you up to handle danger. The other is the parasympathetic, which does the opposite. It's the brake. It slows your heart rate, calms your body, and activates healing, digestion, and reproduction. It's sometimes called the rest and digest or feed and breed system. The primary nerve that drives the parasympathetic side is the vagus nerve, Latin for wanderer, because it travels from your brain down through your neck, into your chest and abdomen, touching nearly every vital organ. It regulates your digestion, immune function, and even your emotional state. Here's the problem. When you're chronically stressed, your sympathetic system, the gas pedal, is stuck to the floor. Your heart rate is high, your muscles are tense, your blood pressure is up, and your body is burning through energy non-stop. To keep that going, your body borrows resources from the parasympathetic side, the brake. So when stress is up, digestion, immunity, fertility, and healing all go down. That's why some researchers thought, if people can't activate their parasympathetic system anymore, why not stimulate it artificially? Hence, the vagus nerve stimulator, a device designed to send electrical impulses to activate the vagus nerve and calm the system. It sounds logical, but it misses a key point. The body's design is far more elegant than a simple on-off switch. When a threat appears, your brain automatically activates the sympathetic system and simultaneously turns off the parasympathetic. It's built that way for a reason. You can't slam the gas and the brakes at the same time. Once the threat passes, your frontal lobe steps in. It gathers input from your senses, realizes you're safe, and sends a signal to ease off the gas. That, in turn, reactivates the parasympathetic, your natural braking system. But in today's overstimulated world, endless notifications, work pressure, traffic and news, people never stop pushing the gas pedal. Their frontal lobe becomes fatigued and fails to send that slow down message. So now, instead of teaching people to restore that natural control, technology tries to do it for them by shocking the vagus nerve directly. And that's where the problem lies. If your body still thinks it's in danger, if your sympathetic system is still blasting full throttle, forcing the parasympathetic to activate artificially creates an internal tug of war. Gas and brake press down together. The result? System burnout. That doesn't mean vagus nerve stimulators never have a place. They can help in specific medical conditions. But for most people, the solution isn't electrical. It's behavioral and neurological. You don't need a device to restore balance. You need to reawaken your frontal lobe, the natural stress regulator your body already has. How do you do that? Through movement, breathing, and chiropractic adjustments, which stimulate the brain naturally. Exercise increases blood flow and proprioceptive input to the frontal cortex. Deep breathing activates the parasympathetic system safely and organically. Chiropractic adjustments help restore proper signaling from the spine to the brain. reminding the body that it's safe to relax. In short, your body already knows how to calm itself. It just needs the right signals. Activate your brain, move your body, breathe deeply, and you'll do what no device ever could. Restore peace from the inside out. The third major job of the frontal lobe is to inhibit mood, especially negative mood. In simple terms, it's what keeps you from being overwhelmed by worry, anger, or sadness. When your frontal lobe is strong, it acts like a filter, calming emotional storms before they take over. But when it weakens, from stress, fatigue, or lack of stimulation, that filter fades. It's like a dim light bulb that can no longer brighten a room. Suddenly, thoughts that should pass quietly through your mind get stuck and loop endlessly. Anxiety grows louder. Sadness lingers. And that little voice in your head that used to whisper now never shuts up. The frontal lobe's ability to turn off unnecessary noise applies not only to emotions, but also to distractions. These are called secondary stimuli, the random background signals you're not supposed to notice. Imagine trying to focus on a conversation while a faucet drips in the distance or a fan hums nearby. Most people tune those things out effortlessly, but if your frontal lobe can't inhibit properly, those tiny noises become unbearable. Your attention scatters. Everything feels irritating. This is one reason conditions like ADD and ADHD are so exhausting. The brain can't filter what's unimportant, so everything competes for attention. Think about it. The squeak of a chair, the buzz of a phone, a fly in the room. All can feel like an assault. Not because the sounds are louder, but because your brain's brakes aren't working. The inability to filter out these minor stimuli makes it harder to stay calm, focused, or effective in a crisis. And that loss of calm is not just mental. It triggers the body's stress response all over again. You start to breathe shallowly, your muscles tighten, your heart rate rises. Before you know it, you're back in the same fight or flight mode your brain was supposed to turn off. This same principle explains why chronic pain often lingers long after an injury has healed. The pain itself doesn't come from your joints, muscles, or skin. It comes from your brain's interpretation of signals. Pain receptors, known as nociceptors, simply send messages. Your brain decides whether those messages deserve attention. When the frontal lobe is strong, it quiets irrelevant pain signals, but when it's weak, it fails to inhibit them. The result is hypersensitivity. Your brain amplifies normal sensations into discomfort or even pain. That's why some people feel pain from things that shouldn't hurt. A light touch, a blanket, the texture of clothes, or even bright light or strong smells. Their nervous system can't turn off the incoming flood of signals. What should be neutral now feels overwhelming. Over time, that constant sensory overload keeps the stress cycle alive, making it harder for the frontal lobe to recover. So let's connect the dots. The frontal lobe is your body's master regulator. About 90% of its job is not to create new activity, but to dampen it, to calm, to balance, to quiet the noise. But when the frontal lobe weakens, the systems it's supposed to control start running wild. Your flexor muscles tighten, pulling you into a slouched, defensive posture. Stress hormones like cortisol flood your bloodstream. Negative emotions run unchecked. Pain and hypersensitivity rise. And here's the critical insight. Pain and negative emotions are both forms of stress. When they become chronic, they feed into the same destructive loop, a feedback cycle where stress weakens the frontal lobe, and a weak frontal lobe creates more stress. This is the hidden root of accelerated aging. When your brain loses its ability to inhibit, every system in your body starts running in overdrive. Muscles stiffen, inflammation rises, sleep quality drops, and your emotional resilience fades. The good news: Just as the problem begins in the brain, so does the solution. Stimulating, moving, and nourishing the brain, chemically, structurally, and emotionally, can help restore that inhibitory power. Because when your brain is calm and balanced, the rest of your body finally has permission to heal, rebuild, and thrive. At the end of the day, everything comes back to your brain. The silent conductor behind every heartbeat, every movement, every emotion. When your frontal lobe is strong and active, it keeps your world in balance. It helps you stand tall, think clearly, recover faster, and handle stress with calm confidence. But when it weakens, that balance crumbles. Muscles tighten, moods darken, pain lingers, and life begins to feel heavier than it should. The good news is, you have far more control over this process than you think. Your brain isn't a fixed machine. It's a living, adaptable organ that responds to how you live. Every deep breath, every mindful walk, every moment of gratitude sends healing signals back to it. You can rebuild the calm that stress once stole from you. Start small. Move every day. Eat real living food. Get sunlight, connection, and rest. Most importantly, notice your thoughts and choose to shift them. Each conscious act of awareness strengthens the very part of your brain designed to protect you from chaos. Remember, aging isn't just about the passage of time. It's about how well your brain manages the energy of your body, your emotions, and your environment. When your brain leads, your body follows, and vitality returns. If this message resonated with you, don't let it stop here. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next video. Because each one builds on the last, guiding you deeper into understanding your body, your mind, and the incredible power you already hold to heal yourself from within.